Have y'all ever like recorded half a video only for it to close out and not actually record? Because that just happened to me. Well, welcome back to Maple and Roots, guys. Thank you for stopping in. I'm in a new location. This is like the corner of my kitchen. This is my little apothecary over here. I've got some early stuff. But really I'm just kind of hiding from everybody in here because nobody is in this room right now. Welcome. It is Monday. Happy Monday here. It's Monday when I'm filming this, I should say. We are in June. We have made it. And I want to know, are you done homeschooling? Are you not done homeschooling? What do your summers look like? Drop it below. I'd like to know. And I will share about what we're doing at the end of this video. Today is number 3 of the How to Homeschool series. Thanks for sticking with me through this. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and check out the first 2 videos now. They do kind of build upon each other of things that I feel like are important, like in the very beginning when we're talking about homeschooling. So today I want to talk about scheduling your yearly schedule. I want to talk about your daily rhythms, and I want to talk about record keeping. These are all really important subjects that we should be talking about. The very first thing that you need to do, as I said in my first video, is go ahead and check out your state laws. It is important that you know the laws for your state or your province, wherever you are, in the records that you need to keep and the hours or days that you need to homeschool and if you need to take attendance or not. It does definitely vary state by state. I am grateful in my state we do have a number of days that we need to homeschool for, but I don't have to keep attendance, so that's really nice. So when it comes to our yearly schedule, we have a lot of different options. The first being you can have a very traditional schedule. You can start when your public school starts and you can end when your public school ends and take those breaks when they do. You can have a 4-day week and go year long, or a 5-day week and go year long. Year long is actually quite intriguing to me. We're not year long homeschoolers, but we do like school stuff in the summer to keep up with just some routines and some rhythms in our lives and to make sure that we're not forgetting skills. But usually our summer does look different than our school year stuff. You can do things like 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Some people will go from like late August to December, take the month of December off, pick back up in January, and then go on till March, and take those big breaks. There are so many different ways to schedule out your year in homeschooling, and that is one of the beauty of homeschooling. For us, it's really nice because if we want to go to Disney World in January when nobody is there, we can schedule our year to take a vacation in January and not have to worry about it. It's awesome. It's very, very nice to have that flexibility. And it's also nice. My battery's going to die. And it's also nice to be able to know, to plan for things and to plan for emergencies. So if you're pregnant right now and you want like a month off when baby comes, you can schedule your homeschooling to have that. Now, I will say I actually don't take time off when I have babies that come because it's easier for my family to stay in our routine, but that's a whole side note. So scheduling, I highly recommend. Okay. Also, I feel like anybody who knows me, they're like, Bethany's talking about scheduling right now. What is even going on? Because I'm the least scheduled person in the entire world. But I do recommend, generally when you are in the summertime, like right now, or as we get closer to the traditional school year starting, is really have an idea of what your yearly schedule should look like. It's nice to have that plan into place. So when you're in like February and you're just so like, oh my goodness, I just need to be done. Like I have a break coming up or we can take a break now. Whatever. So it is important to have a general idea of what your yearly schedule will look like, especially when it comes to record keeping and it comes to like completing curriculum, knowing that you have enough curriculum for the year if you use curriculum, or maybe I have too much for the year, whatever. So those are some things with scheduling. And let me know what you do for scheduling. I would like to know. We take it differently every year. As I said, we are not year-round homeschoolers, but we do, as in like with our curriculum, like we don't like do 5 days a week or 4 days a week, like even in the summer. What I'm doing this summer Wait, I'm going to save that for the end. So now you got to wait. Um, okay. Next up, what I want to talk to you about is daily routines and rhythm. And what I think is really important is we've talked about like our homeschool goals, like our big goals. I think it's really important to make yearly goals for yourself, for your home, for your kids, or with your kids, I should say, because they should be a part of that process. But when you think of those goals, think of your ideal day. What does your ideal homeschool day look like? Including things like chores, right? And the housework that you have to get done, including spending time with people, including errands and all of those things. What does your ideal day and your ideal week look like? And so take some time to really dream about that. Dream about like, if in a perfect world, what would that look like? And how would we achieve this? And I think like whatever you come up with that, strive for that to be your rhythm and your routine. Now, I am not like a scheduled person, like at 8 o'clock I do this and 7:59 I do this. I'm not that kind of person, but I do like the flow in our home to be very like rhythmic. I like the kids kind of have expectations. They know what our day looks like. They know the rhythm of the day, because it's helpful when everybody kind of knows what's going to go on. But it also like leaves space for like, hey, let's go on a surprise field trip, things like that. So really visualize what do you want your day to look like, and then start building your day off of that vision. Can you achieve it? Is it achievable? Sometimes they're not achievable, and that's okay. And sometimes like we're never going to have like the most perfect day every day. Like things are going to happen. Some days you're going to be like, you know what? We're watching a documentary today. Surprise. But take some time, visualize it, think it out, and then start planning your day on that. We are afternoon homeschoolers. We do not start our curriculum or our stuff in the morning. I am not a morning person. I need to get up. I need to drink my coffee. I need to have my Jesus time. I need to have some conversation with my husband. I need to just like put my face on, feel like I'm put together. I need a house that is semi-neat-ish. I need those things. So I do those things in the morning, and then we come together in the afternoon and do school. My kids also love having playtime in the morning or having outside time in the morning, that they don't feel like they're rushed to get to school. That doesn't work very well in my home with my children. Now you might be different. You might want to get school done in the morning so you can have the rest of your day. It looks different for everyone, but also don't be afraid to experiment with afternoon homeschooling or even evening homeschooling. Yeah, so that's rhythms and routines, and get your kids' input on this, right? Like if they would they rather do all of their stuff at one time, or would they rather take breaks in between? Do they want to do their do they want to do their chores before they go to bed at night? Do they want to do their chores when they wake up in the morning? Kids love having input, and when they have input on those things and on their schedules and on their own life, and they feel valued, like they're a valued member of this family where they can help decide some of these things, I find it helps the struggles of like homeschooling to go a little bit better, because they feel empowered and that they're a part of the process. So let's move on to record keeping. This is another thing that I live in a really regulated state, so I have to record keep, but it does depend It does depend state to state or province or country, whatever. I realize that not everybody is in the States. And so sometimes your state wants like a whole lot, and other times they don't need a whole lot, or you don't even have to submit everything. I like the idea, and what I'm going to start next year is the reversed record keeping. I think that is really, really smart. So you have your planner, and every day what you've completed for the day, you write down. And I think especially if you're unschoolers and you need to submit stuff to your country or your state, that's a really good way to document what you've done. And then you don't have to like 3 months later be like, okay, what did we do on that Tuesday? I don't even know. Because we do forget it. Like we think that we're going to remember, but we definitely don't. So I think reverse record keeping is a really smart idea. It's really wise. with keeping our work. The other thing that I highly recommend and that I've started doing is this year in my state, they want us to submit our portfolios digitally. And at first I was like, but you know what? It's actually kind of smart because that means I don't have to keep 8,000 papers in my house. It means that I can scan them into my computer as we're going and just pop them on a thumb drive, or I can take a picture with my phone and just pop them in. So I can, at the end of the week, I can take all of the work that we've done that I want to highlight, because you don't need to submit all, most states, or I don't think any states, you have to submit everything that you've done. So I can take like bits and pieces, like, oh, this would be a really good one to show, you know, that we're learning these skills or checking off those boxes or this particular subject. And right when I'm thinking about it, I can go, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go walk right over to my printer. I'm going to scan this in and I'm going to put it in this folder on my computer and be able to move on. And if you're in a house like me where papers get coffee spilled on them, kids draw on them, you lose them, they get torn, they get stuffed somewhere, this is a really good way of making sure that you have what you need for your portfolios. And I think it's also really nice because you're doing it while you're thinking of it. So at the end of the year, you're not in this situation where it's like, oh, I need to go back and I need to pull everything that we've done and I now need to document it. So that's what I am striving to do, especially for next year. So the reverse record keeping and then scanning as I'm going along. And the thing is, if your state doesn't take digital portfolios, you can always just do that, scan them in, and then you can print everything out. So then you have it. You know, you can go to Staples or print them out at home. But that way, it's all condensed. It's all right there, and you can breathe at the end of the school year and not have to stress out about it, like which is what I'm doing right now. Because I have not done this throughout the school year. This is just merely a pipe dream. So I have to go back and I have to pull out everything that I've done. I've got to scan it all in and get it sent out to the state for each kid. So record keeping, yeah, reverse record keeping. I think it's a really, really wise idea. And I think scanning in your portfolios as you're going on is a really, really wise idea digitally, or just taking pictures with your phone so you have them. Maybe you want to keep the hard copies, just put them in a folder and have them. But I think if you're doing that, and as long as they're backed up on your computer and your phone, or your computer and a thumb drive, you're probably golden. So you don't really have to worry about it that much. Another thing that I think is important when it comes to record keeping is at the beginning of the year, you know, really writing out your goals and writing out what you're hoping, you know, the scope of sequence, is that the word? You know, this is what they're going to be learning. In my state, I have to do that. So in my state, I have to write out just an overview of the curriculum we're going to use and what they're going to be learning and how we're going to achieve that. And I have to submit that to my state. But even if you don't have to submit that to your state, I think it's a wise thing to do, because when you're in the middle of January and you're like, why are we starting this book? You can go back and be like, oh yeah, because this is what we're going to achieve out of this book. It helps. And it also helps that, like, if a curriculum isn't working in the middle of the school year, you can go back to what you had like originally planned, and you can say like, okay, this is what I had hoped to accomplish from this math curriculum, but this math curriculum isn't working. I can now go out and get another curriculum, or I can do something different, but still hitting these points that I want to hit. So when it comes to portfolio keeping, you know, again, you're being more organized and you have that plan laid out ahead of you so that later on you're not completely caught off guard. It's really hard. I don't know where I was going with that, so we'll move on. I lost my train of thought, guys. That happens often. The kids have taken over. So if you have questions about scheduling or portfolios or record keeping, drop them below. I will do my best to answer them. The other thing that I would highly recommend with especially like record keeping, another thing I'd really recommend for record keeping is to join communities. That way you can bounce off ideas with other parents that are specific to your state or your community. Because as I said in another video, sometimes laws are written and you're like, I don't understand this. But then you have a conversation with like a veteran homeschool mom and they go like, no, this is what the state needs. This is how you do it. This is the easiest way to compile it. Then you know, and you're not so like completely stressed out, and you can really just bounce off those ideas of each other and making sure that you're not missing any gaps and making sure that you're understanding correctly. And also a lot of times they have tips on how to make things easier when it comes to record keeping for your state. Those are probably important things. Oh, another thing that I do currently, which is going to really help me as I put together this year's portfolio, is that when my kids read a book, I write it down. So I have a list of Adeline, I have a list of Lila, and of Asher, and they read a book, they complete a book, or we read a book together if we're doing a family read aloud or it's our morning basket, and I write it down. So then that way I can go back and be like, okay, I know we've read all these books, because other times I'd be like in our book wardrobe, because that's what it is, and being like, okay, somebody read this. Who, girls? Which one of you read this? Oh, I read that. Oh no, that was last year, and then it's not accurate. So that's again probably a part of the reverse record keeping, is just like knowing. You could even do that in your like little like calendar boxes, being like, Adeline read this book today. Or highlight it with a different color for each kid. So you could just write the title of the book and just, if Adeline's pink highlighter, I just highlight that and just have that there. So those are my tips for portfolio keeping. Have I executed them? No, I have not, because I'm not great at planning ahead. So what I typically do is just kind of be like, when I get there, I get there, and now I'm going to have to do all this work. Next year, I am going to attempt to not do that. I am going to do the reverse record keeping, and I'm going to be doing our portfolio as we go on. Fingers crossed. Y'all hold me accountable. Like in January, please just flood me with messages and being like, how's your portfolio keeping going, Bethany? And I'll be like, oh, I did that for 2 weeks in the beginning of the school year. I guess I should get there. That will happen, probably, most likely. Yeah, so that's it. That's scheduling for the year. That's routines or rhythms in your home. And that is portfolio keeping. Short and sweet. It's hard to talk about things that I don't always have experience with. So maybe these were a little bit lacking. I'm so sorry. So yeah, I think that's probably going to be it for today. I need to go paint my children's room. Okay, so as promised, I also wanted to share what we are doing for the summer, and this isn't necessarily finalized. We are at the end of our school year. We just have a little bit that we need to finish up that, quite honestly, we're probably not going to. But it's not anything that I like have to. It's just stuff that I probably wanted to. But I just wanted to share what we are going to be doing for the summer. So I have put a lot of thought into this because I don't want to lose the momentum that we have and the skills, especially when you have an early reader like I do, or ones who might need a little bit more practice. You want to make sure that you're being consistent even throughout the summer, but it can look differently. So what I've decided is that on 1 week, we'll do a little bit of school stuff on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then next week, we'll do a little bit of school stuff on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and just keep alternating. My kids were super okay with that and thrilled with that. They love that. So some of the things that we're going to be focusing on is print handwriting for all 3 of my learners right now. And then for my 2 older girls, they are going to be working on their cursive. I know there's a lot of debate with cursive. My girls desperately want to write in cursive, so we're just going with it. And because we deal with some dyslexia in our home, cursive is really helpful, especially for kids who are a little bit rushed and a little bit messy with their handwriting. It can really help them just be very thought out on what they're writing. So we are going to be working on their cursive and their print handwriting. I'm also going to be working on their spelling. I think I shared this in another video. So we are going to have some spelling practice. We do need to work on spelling and continuing to work on our math facts, subtraction, addition, and multiplication. So we'll be working on those things. I'm also continuing our history throughout the summer because I know where we need to end up with our history as my daughter is going into middle school. And so to do that, we do have to do our history through the summer. But I have shared just a little bit. I don't use a history curriculum. I just use living books for it. And because I do that, my girls, they really like history, and we'll be doing mostly historical fiction throughout the summer. So it's not anything like really, like memorizing dates or anything like that. They're quite happy with it. But I was really excited because I was gifted the mega bundle from the Hidden Way, the nature mega bundle from the Hidden Way, which is currently on sale right now. I don't know for how much longer, for $25. And oh my gosh, it is amazing. So if you haven't grabbed it, like literally go run and grab it. I'm going to link it below. No affiliate, nothing, nothing. But I was printing things out today and I was looking at it, and it is so full of like amazing things. There's things about herbs, and you guys know, like I'm a herbal student, and so my girls were so excited and I was excited about that. There's studies in different plants, like strawberry plants, and we have strawberries like planted outside in the garden right now. So we're actually going to start there. There's things about birds and about animals all over other continents, there's a whole section on bees and games, and oh, it's amazing. So we're going to dig into that this summer, and my girls are really excited. Now some of the things are a little bit young, like, here's the letter A, which is for us is fine because we're a big family and we always have somebody who's coming up into those, so we'll use them. But a lot of the nature study stuff we'll pull bits and pieces from and use it that way. If you're going to use it, I definitely recommend having a printer or utilizing a printing service for sure, because it is a lot of stuff. And are we going to get it all done this summer? Absolutely not. Like, it is so much stuff. But I also like that there's kind of a focus on North America with it. So there's somebody walking by. So they're probably like, what is that weirdo doing in her window again? But next year, when we start back to like school, we're going to be starting with the Gather Around North American unit. And then the unit after that we're going to be doing is US government, or alongside of that, I should say. So I am excited to actually pull from the Nature Mega Bundle from the Hidden Way and combine it somewhat with that Gather Around curriculum. And I might even stretch out the North American continent. I might even like stretch it out for like 12 weeks or for the semester, and pack this stuff in between, and try to make it just a little bit more student-led or child-led, so they can really kind of dig into the subjects that they want to dig into and kind of explore them more. So that's kind of my goal. So I guess I shared a little bit about what we're doing next year, and I am gonna dedicate like a video to like recapping this year and what we're doing, fully next year. I'm not really sure yet. So, and as I said I struggle with planning. So, I'm still thinking about it. I'm still like processing on what we're going to do next. But that's what we're doing for the summer. My baby's awake. He's going to come in here fussing. We're just going to try to continue to dig into these things, and a lot of nature study, a lot of bugs and flowers, seeds. That baby's not happy. Thank you guys for stopping by and listening to me chat and ramble. If you haven't done so already, I gotta go get that kid. Please subscribe and ring the bell for notifications of all my future uploads. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.